just want to welcome you. So absolutely
Yeah, thanks
excited.
for having me.
Yeah, for all the years I've seen you out there working in the field, and now I'm celebrating 14 years in the artistic world. Who better than to ask Andrew Pilgrim? And I'm honored to have you celebrate with me. And you so readily accepted. Bless you.
Yeah, well, it's my pleasure.
Uh-huh.
Um, as I said, we are colleagues in the field, and I respect what you do as well. So
Yes,
it's a pleasure to be with you.
wonderful. Wonderful. Just now we were just sharing about the artistic world because I was, sharing with you my joy in terms of teaching and educating young people.
Yeah,
And now I have students who are interior designers, fashion designers. I was talking about the one, Alyssa, who she's an architect. She was on TED Talk, and I just thought that was so amazing. Had students who went to Harvard and they, head in their field and all in
yeah,
art, and they're making it wonderfully well.
yeah. The arts has such a multitude of professions, opportunities that cover that field, and that allows people, I think, even just the visual arts, being exposed to it
Yeah.
in a formative stage gives you an opportunity to look at life a lot differently, and it just expands your way of thinking. So I think it's short-sighted to take away the arts in programming. I know I experienced that
Ah,
myself
mhm.
growing up, and I didn't understand, and I don't think we understood the importance of being exposed to those things
Right.
as part of the academic your academic life as well. I mean, academics are great and so on, and obviously that's a big part of moving ahead in any profession,
But
in any
isn't
field.
that the place where we have a lot of trouble, where persons are thinking that art isn't academic? I think that's one of my
Yeah.
peeves in educational sphere. People thinking is not an academic subject. What's your take on it?
Well, I just think they're not looking at it holistically.
There you go.
Uh, as I said, it's art itself. Just being exposed to the arts gives folks in other fields, in the sciences and all of these other areas,
Hmm.
it gives them a different way of looking at things, and it
It's
allows
true.
for creativity, which helps them in those professions as well. So
Correct.
I think that the arts is important in many different ways, just to be exposed to it.
Exactly.
Everyone is not going to be a great painter or sculptor or a creative person,
Right.
but being exposed, the exposure and the knowledge,
Hmm.
even as far as history, the
Yeah.
historical aspect of it.
Hmm.
We have been told that we have not contributed anything to the arts,
Wow. How
and
far from the truth that could
and
be.
exactly. So
We would have
you,
influenced so many persons.
yeah, you expose uh,
Yeah.
young people to the art history side of it and illustrate that with artists who have achieved
Hmm.
across the diaspora in many different ways.
Yeah.
You dispel all of those myths and so on.
Myth.
So it's has a lot of importance, I think, in
Yeah.
education, in academics,
Hmm.
all of these types of things.
Yeah. And even the spiritual implication of it as well. And to
Oh, it's
add to
very,
you,
oh yeah,
yeah,
major, major, yeah, oh yeah,
very much so. And to add to your
yeah,
point just now, not everyone will be an artist, but we can certainly appreciate it. And I'll share you
yeah.
this. I remember, I think it was last year, I went to a doctor's office with my daughter. But at that time, she was wearing her mask, but the voice sounded familiar, and she picked up my voice as well, only to find out it was one of my past students. She's a
Okay,
doctor.
wonderful.
But when I walked into her room, there are about 7 artworks in there.
Hmm.
So she's not an artist, but her love for art still there. It is
Yeah,
still there. And it
yeah,
lifts
and
the
she appreciates it,
environment.
obviously. Yeah, she appreciates that, and that's important.
Yeah. But I was doing a reading, can't remember the source, and they're saying that when a person goes into a gallery or space or looks at a work of art, their experience, the emotional experience is almost the same of the artist who created it. That
Yeah.
that blew my mind. It's like, how interesting this is. So it's like you're creating a work of art and you can allow a person to enter into your emotional space. And I
Yeah. Well,
guess,
I think
mhm,
that makes sense. That makes
yeah,
sense to me.
it does. And I guess for me at creative art, well, that is my whole objective, creating works of art that can speak to persons, that can encourage persons. And I think especially coming off from the COVID times
Yeah.
where we had so
Yes.
many persons that were depressed and so on, that was the
Sure.
time
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
the door opened up for me to put some work out there in, it was Washington, and they invited me twice for this visual online event. And the
Hmm.
whole thing was about encouraging persons. So the effect, the psychological and the emotional effect that art can have is so powerful. And so many
Yeah. I,
testimonies I've heard, that you cannot ignore it. So for me, art takes on a different function. It's not just about me and what I like, but it's creating so that it can affect the community in a special and an encouraging, or like the word I like to use, inspirational way.
yes, and I think it has many dimensions, like you said, the spiritual side, exploring that side of it as well in many
Yeah,
different aspects.
yeah.
Is another and has been a tradition in the arts, as you know,
Hmm.
and if you look at most religions and the
Yes.
portrayals and use of art um, throughout the ages
Uh-huh.
to portray spirituality, to capture certain aspects of it.
Hmm.
And today,
Hmm.
up to today, it's been very, very important and played a key role. I like to see folks explore that. It's something that I've delved into as a curator a little bit.
Yeah.
There are a couple of exhibits that
Hmm.
I've done,
Hmm.
and there's always room for that. You know.
Good. Good. Because I remember when I started a few years back, my main interest at that time also was to explore biblical themes, to explore ways of encouraging again, right? And I felt for years like the odd one because there wasn't much of that. Well, there wasn't any of that at that particular time. I think there was one artist I met who explored the biblical theme, and that is Fenty, and he looked at the rapture. And that was around 1989 when I first saw, not 89, 1990 something, when I first saw that painting. So I recognized that there is the possibility of representing biblical themes in a unique way. But to see it in Barbados at that time, it was not the popular thing at all. So I
Right,
went through,
right,
I
right.
got my bruises here and there, but I took it because I had an objective. But now I'm seeing it growing, and that is why I've started the Creatives Art Fellowship for other spiritually minded persons who love the Lord. They can come together and position themselves to grow and to express themselves confidently so that they don't feel like out of sea, but they have a place now where they can actually exhibit their work and share their thoughts about miracles, blessings, etc. How do you see Christian art surviving in Barbados?
Well, I mean, it's as I said, it's an aspect of the arts that has been
Hmm.
around from as far as I know. When you go back in art history,
Hmm.
people have been using art in
Right,
many different ways for spiritual purposes and to manifest their faith and things like that. So I don't see why it won't have a life in Barbados and why
right,
I think again with any
mhm,
type of visual art or art in general, you want to educate people at the same time as you bring them
right. Well
to
said.
the table, you know. So providing that is what will I think give that area
A
longevity
push. Yeah,
as
yeah,
far as exposing people
yeah.
people of faith and just regular people to the fact that this is part of expression.
That is it.
They should be exposed to it.
Good, 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 good. You're on the same page with me.
I've worked I've worked with an artist, not crossing you, but I've
Go
worked with
ahead.
an artist for quite a
Hmm.
while,
Hmm.
and you can look her up online. Her name is Laura James.
Right.
Um, and when I met her,
Hmm.
I was exposed that she's someone that works in the Ethiopian iconic style, and
Okay.
she was creating paintings based on biblical stories.
Right.
Uh, she eventually was commissioned by the Catholic Diocese here in Chicago,
That
and her
sounds
work
good.
is now in several publications that is being used today in houses of worship here in the US,
Wonderful.
portraying people of color. So it's done several things as far as portraying that expression, but also showing people of color in that in that area as
Yes.
far as the representation, the true
Yeah.
representation of people of that part of the world, because
Right.
we know that folks from that part of the world are not Caucasian.
Yeah. And that has been a big talk now in terms of racial interpretation in art. How relevant is it to us, even when they look at biblical themes? So
Well,
it was really good to hear what you're saying happening for her. And that's encouraging because it's telling us there is a place for who we are as individual, and there's a place for us to
we just have to
express.
be realistic. Yeah,
Yeah,
we have to be realistic
keep
about
it
that.
real.
That,
Yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
because I'm thinking without that realistic perspective, people even have the wrong perspective of Christianity or the faith, in that
Yeah, sure.
they're believing that we are perpetuating that Jesus was of a particular race or disciples of a particular race. And I'm not racial in no means, but as you said, being realistic and with historical facts, you can trace that, that was
But
not true.
this is how they were portrayed. As I said, art was used
Exactly.
again for those purposes as propaganda,
Yeah, yeah.
basically. So
But
now
you
that can change.
but you heard about the artworks that were found in a monastery in the UK, and the
Mhm.
sculptures and so on were all painted white, but then they discovered that it was deliberately painted so, but these were all black men
Sure.
before.
Yes, yeah, yeah. Well, if you go back to ancient relics, a lot of them were
Wow.
painted uh, in color. They were
Hmm.
not white faced at all.
Right.
You go across Eastern Europe, you'll find a lot of that too. But it's not really, it's
Hmm.
not well known or well
Yes.
documented. But I've had the privilege of work with artists
Hmm.
dealing with the spiritual realm and presenting these types of stories
Right.
as a curator to our people to
Yeah.
to sensitize them to these types of areas,
Yeah. Yeah.
or
Yeah.
representation.
But there's something you said that really resonated with me, and I appreciate that you said that. In other words, there's the opportunity for this area of art to develop in Barbados. People just need to be educated. And that is what excites me because what for 34 years, as you know, you met me along those paths. I have been a teacher in the art department, head of the fine arts department. So the excitement for me now is where I'm able to combine my experience in the area of the arts and combine it with my faith. And so I'm in a position now where I'm excited about teaching and passing on that information because I think a few years ago, when I recognized that the work was not being received, you will post it, people might not recognize it, and so forth. Then it hit me, you know what? I need to educate people in terms of art. What is art? How does it relate to expression? How does it relate to what you believe in as an individual? And certainly I have seen a turnaround because it came to one point where the most of my art that were being sold both here and overseas were themes of biblical line or spiritual references, right?
Mm.
So I'm like comfortable
Yeah.
in
So
this area.
it shows you that there is a a need for that out there, and
Definitely.
people want to have that art in their homes. You know, you just have
Yes,
to reach that right people.
you're right. You're
So
right.
let's connect with those folks
And I
and
guess
educate them at the same time.
that is it. That is it. As you say that, it reminds me even of the program we have now, where it is gauged to educate persons who are of the faith, and they want to learn how to express themselves, how to interpret themes, the process. They're able to get our information now. And we launch it this year as we celebrate our 14th year as Creative Artwell. So we're about creating a space where they can be positioned to express what is in their heart, creating a space as well where they can actually gather and exhibit their work. And that wing of it is the Inspirational Fine Art Gallery. And that is located on Roebuck Street at Sugarcane
Right.
Mall. Yeah. So I think I'm having a wonderful time. I'm really excited. Up to
Yeah.
today, someone
I saw
called
some
and
images. I
asked
saw some
again.
images from. Yeah. No, I saw some images from your exhibits there. I've seen
Yes,
some images. Yeah.
yeah, I'm liking what I'm seeing, you know.
Yeah.
And by putting all the same images, persons are saying that spoke to me, or I want to be able to get into that boldness and putting out what it is I'm thinking and feeling. I'm saying, sure, come join us, you know.
Well, that's
So
excellent. You know that you struck a chord there,
yeah,
and you know, some folks are might be kind of timid to go out there and make a first step, but once they
right,
connect with others and realize that this
right.
is a community, there's a community out there
That's it.
maybe that is interested in what you're doing.
But
Oh,
we're having in April, we're having our third annual exhibition. And we
mhm.
started off with about 6 artists, and then we move on to 8 last year. And now there's so much more. So, and they're like absolutely looking forward to this show. We have persons who are doing jewelry, one in fashion, more visual artists. So we're getting different persons in different disciplines and they're coming on board with this. So we're excited. And interestingly, the theme is God is doing something new. That's our theme. So I really appreciate, even though I promise you it's a small chat, but you
It's all
have
right.
encouraged
It was
me.
a pleasure. It was a pleasure being with you, as you say. Thanks for
Yes,
inviting me to speak with you and on your anniversary and so on. And
yeah,
I look forward to us doing some things together in the future.
of
You know,
course,
we'll
why
certainly
not?
be working together in March, and we'll see what
Yes, I'm
happens
looking
after.
forward for CaFa as well. I saw the email today. So I'm looking
Yeah,
forward to this exhibition with all the Caribbean-based artists. You're doing a great work to be able to do that. And how many years you've been doing this now?
this is the 16th year.
You see what I
So
mean? So you are
yeah.
inspiring me. Thank you.
Couldn't do it without the artists.
I'm telling you, it's a community to be able to work together, and that is it. And I guess
Yeah.
you are doing something right because it takes a particular personality to be able to have persons coming in your sphere. You must be able to be welcoming. You must be able to have a vision that keep them coming back. So
Yeah, I think there is something to that. Yes, thank you.
you keep it up. So we'll
All right.
catch up in March. Again, thank you for
Yes.
sharing our celebration. Thank you.